I just wanted to wrap up with saying a little bit more precisely about what this led to, which is actually going to be presented here in Milan on Tuesday at the as part of the Fuori Salone. And it's really an attempt to consider if all of this is true, if this kind of the home is on this, in the midst of this technological derive, in which we are adapting, in which we are possibly even more observed when we're in the home than when we're outside of the home, where we are establishing completely new relationships which come much closer to those of with other human beings. What is actually what is the possibility of a primitive hut? And Leger's primitive hut has always been, in a way, a kind of an exercise for architects to think about what is the essence of architecture in any particular moment. And so, in the age of the smart home, what is actually the meaning of what is the kind of the key, the central essence of the dwelling? What are the forces that give it shape? And of course, that was once one of the primary functions of the home, was to provide privacy, to provide shelter from what Le Corbusier called the inquisitive, from the elements, of course, and to keep one's property safe, but also to keep out the inquisitive stare of neighbors. And that's what walls are for, among other things. But of course, the wall is something that on the electromagnetic spectrum is almost useless. Yes, it'll perhaps isolate, it'll keep out this particular very small part of the spectrum, which is visible light. But the rest of it is almost transparent. And so in an age in which so much of our life unfolds on the rest of this electromagnetic spectrum, in radio waves, in broadcasts, in communications of every possible kind across the entirety of the band, how do we actually relate to that? What is the architectural function of the home in protecting us, in shielding us from an inquisitivity of a completely different kind? And so what is, in essence, what are the private parts of a home today? How is privacy expressed in the domestic envelope? Especially since there's so much emphasis in the field of research, not so much in Silicon Valley, but more in the military industry, for actually seeing through walls, so actually exploiting this permeability of the envelope. And so our idea was actually to attempt to investigate what an answer to these questions could be. What a completely different kind of primitive hut for life on the electromagnetic spectrum what the meaning of that could be. And so what we'll be presenting in a couple of days at Atelier Clerici, and we really hope that you can join us, is a speculation on this, and it takes the form of a quite simple structure that is conceived to provide shelter of a completely different kind, primarily electromagnetic. And it's based on the idea, this notion that actually maybe just as our telephones have provide us moments of intimacy and privacy by giving us an airplane mode in which one can completely deactivate its communications across the electromagnetic spectrum, maybe that's something that a house needs as well. And so, for example, we have an open mode, which is this first one, in which it's open house mode, in which one's completely open and exposed, and it's the moment of greatest visibility. Or there's a second mode, which is RSVP mode, in which only certain frequencies of one's choice, which may be on the microwave spectrum, therefore on cell phones, or the Wi-Fi spectrum, which is slightly longer wavelength, is permitted in, or a full airplane mode in which one is completely shielded from every wavelength of the spectrum. And in which actually the habitational components, the life support, so to speak, those daily rituals, those daily functions, are actually much more compressed because we use them so much less. We don't spend so much time in our kitchens. We spend the bedroom has actually become the center of our existence when we're at home.